I mean, everybody's kind of pinching pennies right now, which is a ridiculous thing to say when we're talking about what we're talking about, when in the
Yeah.
real world there are people everywhere that literally pinch pennies and cut coupons and do all the little things to get by. And I understand that. So, but you may be onto something that so where they have to have that the athletic department, the athletic director, whoever's in charge of making those decisions has to really find a way to balance. Okay, if we keep him another year, the buyout will drop by this much money. That makes sense. But at what point does that make more sense than the negative recruiting that's going to impact, that's going to make this next year's team probably worse than this year's team because players have no faith in this guy anymore. They're sick of the negativity. They're going to leave. He's not going to be able to bring anybody of quality in. And then we're worse off in a year, although we might be able to save $4.35 million.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. Now, we may be a little choppy today because we're having internet problems. In fact, I've had to go to my hotspot because every once in a while that happens with Cox. But anyway, don't worry about it. We'll get this done. Today we'll be joined by Dari Nowkhah from ESPN and SEC Network. Love Dari very much. Great guy. I did his radio show a couple weeks ago. And I love talking to the guy. It's just fun to talk to him. Coach Spurrier will be in here on Monday, and then on next Thursday, we're going to have Allie Peak Wilbur, of course, Eric Wilbur's wife, but that's not what she's famous for. She's famous for her own podcast, which is really good. And we've talked to her one other time, and it's great to get her back on next Thursday. So we'll talk to her about Gator football as far as that goes. And working on some other guests. We got I think we have one new sponsor we're going to talk about today, and a second one that I think is coming on board. I guess got to clear some hurdles on it, but it looks like it's coming on board. So that's good news. Good news because the stronger the advertising, the stronger the show will be, right? There's a theory there somewhere, but I don't even know if it makes any sense. All right, let's get to our Royal Blue starting five, brought to you by Royal Blue Yacht Sales. My good friend Randy Royal over there does a great job of taking care of you, and pretty soon we're going to have a couple of listings we're going to pop up there so you can see those too, so you get an idea of exactly what we've been talking about all this time. All right, let's start with number one on the Royal Blue starting five, and that is that practice has started, but not for DJ Lagway. That was the big story of the week, of course. I think it broke Monday afternoon, but I heard about it Saturday from somebody, and they said torn, and that's why I kept looking for something. What was on there? I looked all over the place, made a couple calls. People didn't really know much about it, but again, he's got a calf injury, and we'll see what happens. I mean, look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. This team will only go as far as he can take them. And that doesn't mean the health of him. It means how well he plays. I think they've got everything in place to have a great season, but they've got to have their quarterback, and it's got to be that quarterback. It can't be Harrison Bailey. Sorry, Harrison Bailey. Look, can you win 6 games with Harrison Bailey? Yeah. Can you get bowl eligible with Harrison Bailey? Yeah. Would Gator fans say, hey, look, sorry, the Lagway thing just screwed us all up, and we can't get any lucky breaks? Probably. But if Lagway's playing and is healthy and doesn't get dinged up again, I still think this is a 9-3 team, and it's in the playoffs. Because you think about it, if you just take your 6 toughest games, you got to win the games you're supposed to win. Take your 6 toughest games, split them, you're in the playoffs. 9-3. There's no way Florida, no matter who you would want to say, I would guess the only possibility would be the Long Island game. If you lost that, and that was one of the 6, and you split that may be a bad enough loss to keep you out. But no, that's not going to happen. So what I'm saying is basically you take those other 6 games, you should win, and you're supposed to win. Long Island, USF, Um, Mississippi State. I will put Florida State in there. I'm sorry, I have to do that. Kentucky, and then Tennessee. I will put Tennessee in there. You're at home, Tennessee. We don't know what's going on with them. Although Boo Carter apparently is now back with the team. And all right, so let's just take those are the six you need to win. You should win. You'll may be favored in all of them, maybe. Okay, now you take the other six. Well, no matter what three you take out of that, if you take Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss on the road, those are three pretty big wins. So whatever you do, anyway, I'm convinced 9-3 will get you in with Florida's schedule, but it's only with DJ Lagway and healthy, and that's the other thing. Right away, everybody's mind races to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, spectacular plays, hurt a lot, sometimes did some dumb things, throwing the ball, but hurt a lot. That's the main thing. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes, look, there's a lot of things going on with DJ Lagway. I mean, he's doing commercials. He's working out with different people in different cities, and Florida's just, I think Florida's just trying to get him to say, hey, this is your team. These are your teammates. These are the people you need to be working with. These are the people we have hired to work with you. You need to work with them. But I mean, you've got a lot of guys in your ear. You got agents, dads, fifth cousins, and everything. But I remember Anthony Richardson had a similar issue where he was working out with a quarterback coach in Jacksonville and all this. Why do we hire all these coaches? You just work out with those guys and try to stay healthy. But we'll see what happens. I think there has been a kind of a overreaction, and yet it's not an overreaction. Is that possible to be? Because everybody wants to say, well, they're done. They're done. This is terrible, terrible news. Well, it's bad news. You have a quarterback who is not throwing with his receivers again, which he didn't throw in the spring with his receivers. Hopefully, he dragged them out there, but I don't know. He may have been in some camp working out. I don't know. The bottom line is timing can't be great, but maybe they can overcome that. They've got the kind of team that can kind of overcome some of that stuff. I don't think they can overcome not getting a quarterback who's never won, or having a quarterback who's never won a starting job in his life. That's just, I look, and Harrison Bailey could be another Graham Mertz. He could walk in here with this offense and get revived and become a great player. Big kid, he's fine. See what happens. But we'll see. Well, that's the thing. We'll see what happens. All right. The good news, though, is that Florida did get. I guess I don't know how it all worked out, but they ended up not filing the charges against Dijon, and he'll be here. So that's good news because he's an important player for that secondary. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Royal Blue, Dijon Johnson, I should say. Royal Blue starting 5, and that is this became a story this week, and it's not a story, of course, but it is a story. I'm being contradictory here. But Olivier Roy, the 7'9", world's tallest teenager, basketball player on the Florida team, decides, hey, or I don't know if it was he decided or the staff decided, the football staff said, hey, let's call Todd to see if Olivier would like to come out here and try to block some kicks. And Florida did this a long time ago with Greg Jigaleski. Remember him? He was like 6'7". He wasn't 7'9". He was 6'7", 6'8". No, I guess he was about 6'8". Might have even been a little bit taller. But anyway, in cleats, he was probably closer to 7 feet. Anyway, he couldn't play, though. But they put him in, and they had him try to block kicks. Just jump a little bit. That's all you got to do. Just jump a little bit. And he was actually pretty good at it in practice. And they put him in for the first time he tried it. Spurrier was telling me the story. And he went to jump, and he fell down and just fell over a bunch of guys. And that was the end of the Greg Jigaleski experiment. Olivier Roy, I think it's more that you would have to spend a scholarship on him, I think. I don't know. Or maybe they just tried it, and it was like, this ain't going to work. The guy just can't. Yeah, that's a big wingspan to kick over, and could be intimidating. But are we going to dress him when we can only dress? I don't know, what is it, 60 now in SEC games on the road, I believe, something like that. Whatever it is, are we really going to dress this guy? Again, I don't know the deets on it, but that experiment failed. The good thing that so far has come out of practice, and I like to say that only bad things come out of practice, but they've shown a lot of video, and especially because the guys were able to go out and watch it, which is great. But every time you see a video of Dallas Wilson, you go, that looks pretty good. And he gained, I think the strength coach said he gained 15 pounds of muscle this offseason and getting ready to be a freshman wide receiver at the University of Florida. That's a good sign, man. That means this guy is ready to go. That guy, now, if you just get him the ball, throw the ball up. He's one of those, I used to call Riddell Anthony a guy who climbed the air, an air climber. And in other words, guys who go up and it looks like they're they're taking steps as they go up, and they keep going up higher to get the ball because they want the ball so bad. It's almost, you got to imagine it, but it's not real. You don't really walk on the air, but it almost looks like they do. And I think Dallas Wilson's another one of those guys just from the spring game. I could tell that. So that is the good sign coming out of spring practice. All right, let us get to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is, this is a theory I have, and I'm gonna talk to Darr about it. I talked to him about it on his show too, and somebody asked me about somebody being on. Well, they were saying, would Brian Kelly be on the hot seat if he lost that game to Florida? Could it be a hot seat game, loser leaves town? I'm like, nah, that's not the world we live in anymore. I don't think people want to pay. Nobody's ever paying a $78 million buyout or what Jimbo got. Again, I don't think. Not with the finances that is going on. Don't forget, every school's got to come up with $20 million to pay the players in all the sports. They don't have to pay it all, but if they don't, they're behind the 8 ball. As you know, what Kentucky is spending $9 million of it on basketball. But the bottom line is, you got to come up with that money. Florida's cut 5% from every sport. Scott Strickland told us that on the podcast. It is the way it works. But I just don't think schools are likely to say, hey, we're not getting it done here. Let's go ahead and spend $40 million on a buyout. I just don't think they're willing to do that right now. I think it's more likely, unless it just goes off the rails completely. For example, and Brian Kelly is a good example. They think this is the year for them. If it's not the year, if they go, let's say they went 8-4, is that possible? Lose to Clemson, again, lose to Florida would be. I can't see that happening, but it could happen. Anything's possible. Lose to Alabama. I mean, there's games they could definitely lose, and if that happens, what do you do? Maybe he's not the guy. He came here because he needed to find a place where he could win a national championship, and clearly he's not going to win it here. But you're not going to fire him and pay him the huge buyout. You give him another year, see what happens. I think it's the same way with Billy Napier. Like, if he gets off to that 2-4 start that we fear the most for every Gator fan right now, that's the big fear, is 2-4 start. If he gets off to that start, boy, it's going to get loud. But I don't think Florida wants to do that. I don't think they want to pull the trigger. Now, I also don't want to see them go 2-4, and I also don't want to see them, even if they finish strong and go, oh, we went 7-5 again. That's not progress to me. But no, you're going to probably have to settle. Now, I'll see what Darr, maybe he has a different opinion about it, but that's something I am a believer in right now as we sit here today. Let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the ACC Media Day poll finally came out. I thought ACC Media Days was like a month ago, but anyway, no, it was last week, I guess. The poll came out. Clemson picked to win it. Miami second. SMU third. No surprise there. FSU 7th. Think about if you could go back into time when FSU was undefeated and steamrolling towards the playoff, back when it was a 14 playoff, steamrolling towards the playoff, and man, they had it, and they just couldn't lose games. And Jordan Travis gets hurt, and they still win games, and they finish 13-0. And you're like, man, we got it going. And since then, what have you done? You got destroyed by Georgia. Of course, everybody sat out the game, and then you went 2-10, and now you're picked 7th in the ACC. So look, I think it's like any of these polls. It's interesting to talk about, but it's nobody's holding you to it. I think FSU could end up being in the top tier of the SEC. I really do. They also could end up in the bottom tier of the SEC, like they did last year. I think they're one of the many teams that it's hard to tell what they're going to end up being. And most of those teams are in the SEC, to be honest with you. All right, let's get to number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, brought to you by Royal Blue Yacht Sales. And that is that the golf this weekend doesn't have the star power, but it's got the intrigue. And that is enough to get me to watch. Now, I'm not saying I'm the guy who's going to be watching on Thursday. Or, if it's on and I got nothing else to do, I'll watch it. But Sunday is going to be fascinating because obviously it's the last chance to get in the FedEx Cup. It's also the last chance for a lot of people to make their impressions on Captain Keegan, as they keep calling him. I get so tired of them doing that. Captain Keegan. Here's Captain Keegan with a putt. He's not Captain Keegan now. He's Captain Keegan later. So anyway, it's on Saturday and Sunday on CBS, 3 o'clock. So I'm giving you an advance on our Swamp Restaurant games of the weekend, but I'm just telling you that now. I think it's worth watching, especially if you got a bunch of guys who are right on that border of getting in, because it's a nice payoff if you get in. And you want to be part of it. You don't want to say, oh, this is the one year I missed the FedEx Cup. I assume I got to check on Billy Horschel and where he is with his rehab, because I know he wouldn't be able to qualify anyway because he hadn't played very much because of the hip surgery. Anyway, it'll be interesting to watch. It is on the Golf Channel if you want to watch it the first 2 days at 3 o'clock. All right. That is going to do it for our Royal Blues starting 5. We'll take a break. When we come back, Dari Nowkhah from the SEC Network is going to join us. We'll talk to him about the SEC, and we'll also talk to him about a team that I know about now. I did not know about him before, but now I know about him. His old high school. All right, we'll talk about that on Yes, No, Where, Maybe as well. All that and more coming up on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Studios. Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Attention, attention. Your time is running out. There are just hours left before Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's Christmas in July promotion disappears. Right now, get 20% off Spurrier's gift cards. Perfect for fans, foodies, and future Gator greats. But hurry, come August 1st, the deal is gone. Stop by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill today or visit Spurriers.com to claim your 20% off gift cards now. That's Spurriers.com.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay. The podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator studio. Let us go and talk to one of my favorite people to talk to from the SEC network, the great Dari Nowkhah. Dari, how are you on this wonderful Thursday morning?
I am good, man. It's good to see you. Good to talk to you.
It is. It's almost like this is worse than it was in June when we were waiting for college football. Now we can smell it, but we still can't see it. You know?
And I tell you what's like, what always worries me is whether it's all around the SEC or with one school in particular or whatever. Like, I just dread the news coming out that so-and-so got hurt. This guy got hurt, and then you start imagining these teams without what that player does, and you hope nothing serious. You certainly hope it's not a major piece of a team for that team's sake. But yeah, that's this time of year. Typically, there's no good news. There's only bad news, and it's tough to get through it.
That's what I tell people. I said, there is no good news that can come out of training camp.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that will come out of training camp is what a coach wants you to hear.
Correct.
Most of them are shutting them down. But it is just, I'm sitting here with the whole DJ Lagway thing. And of course, that story, I found out about it Saturday night. But I have no where to go with it. So being, just podcast and radio, but, and then, it became a big story and now everybody's panicking.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. And I'm sure that you and like many Gator fans immediately went, oh, he's another Anthony Richardson.
Oh, boy. It is. Let's hope he's not Anthony Richardson. But yeah, like there gets to be a point where, you just certain people, are they soft? Are they snake bit? Is it, is there really some biological, physiological reason that they seem to get dinged up more than others? And sometimes when they do, then it lasts longer than others. I don't know it. I don't understand it. I mean, I know from a fan of him in football in this league and just college football in general, like I want to see that dude play. Yeah. Because I think Florida can be really, really good if he does. And I think Florida can be really, really average if he doesn't. So, yes, we want to see him play. I hate the injury history, and I hate that it feels like every single time. It's like Tua, all right? As great as Tua was, I felt like every time Tua got hit or got taken to the ground, even though I'm not an Alabama fan, I would just kind of cringe because, like,
exactly.
Please get up, be okay.
The world still that way with him now.
Yeah, right. It's right, and it might with Lagway in 5 years.
Yeah,
who knows? But yeah, like we all need him to get better just for the good of the sport, whether you're a Gator fan or not.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder because we've got all these people working with the athletes, and of course the athletes are also stepping out and working with other people, and sometimes maybe they're just working too hard, and we see in the NFL all the injuries that are happening early in camp. All of a sudden you're doing things at a different speed. You can run a 40-yard dash, but when you got to make a move during that 40-yard dash, it's a different play.
For sure, absolutely, right. There's running, there's athletic endeavors, and then there's football endeavors, and they're drastically different. But that's what those people are paid and employed to do, right? I mean,
that's right.
You're not. My primary care physician is not going to rehab DJ Lagway from whatever lower leg injury he's having. Now, if DJ Lagway's got a virus or maybe it's a bacterial infection, here's some antibiotics, right? But these are people specialized in sports science. This is what they study, and physical therapy in that sense.
And
But
nutrition too. Everybody's got the nutrition now. So
right. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, whatever he's dealing with, could you imagine if you or I were dealing with? We'd be on the shelf for 3 years, man.
yeah, I did have a sympathy calf injury the other day. I think my calf felt a little tight, and I go, "Is this another DJ Lagway?" Well, let's talk some football because
Sure.
the SEC, I am saying this, and not everybody agrees with me. And then you look at who everybody's picking, and clearly nobody's agreeing with me. I think the SEC race this year is wide open. The two teams that are going to get to Atlanta, there's only about two that would shock me if they got there,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah. I would say there's more than two that would shock me if they got there, but I feel the same way about the race. Like I think there are feasibly, I've tried to whittle this down. There are 7 teams that I would not be shocked if they ended up in Atlanta, right? It's the big 4, from Bama, Georgia, Texas, LSU,
Right.
Florida, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Like I could see a path where any of them go. Outside of that, I would even say Ole Miss.
I can say Auburn too.
I don't think the world of Auburn. So
yeah, I know. I think everybody's kind of split on them.
Yeah, so those 7, I don't think they all have an equal shot of getting there, but we could get to December and be like, yeah, okay, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not stunned by that. Auburn, Ole Miss, even South Carolina, like I don't have on that level yet, but I love the fact that it is this open. Now, I don't want it to be Big 12 open.
Yeah.
You don't want that, but it will create a lot of excitement if it stays that way.
Yeah, if Mississippi State's in Atlanta, I think it would bother me if that happened. Kind of the way Arizona State got in last year.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your Oklahoma Sooners because you went to school there, obviously, and obviously you loved it when they came into this league. And of course, last year was kind of like the year before and wasn't great. A lot of people really like this team. I've looked at their schedule. It's and nobody's got an easy schedule unless your name is Missouri. Okay, that's the only one. But everybody else has got a tough schedule, and you're either equipped for it or you're not. Having receivers come in, having receivers back, we'll see what the quarterback situation ends up being. I mean, I like this team a little bit, but they're kind of in that same pantheon with the teams that could be in Atlanta, could go 7-5.
Yeah, there are several of them. I mean, now with this daily radio show I'm doing, I'm covering one of those, Oklahoma. You're covering one of those teams in that same realm, right? I mean, so I look at them and I'm really optimistic, very cautiously optimistic, but I'm optimistic. One, I don't think the defense has taken a step back even without Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman. He's done a really good job, Brent Venables, of building a lot of depth, getting rotational guys in there. I think he's got the best defensive line but you could argue in the country, certainly I think in the league. Good experienced linebackers. Secondary that if they're healthy, I like them, although Brent said yesterday that Eli Bowen, a corner they are absolutely counting on, is not healthy to start fall practice, and nobody saw that coming. So that's a concern. But offensively, that was arguably the worst offense since I've been to school and John Blake was the coach, right? So it was atrocious. Yet somehow that team still managed 6 wins, still managed to go to a bowl game. So now you bring in a new coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, his quarterback, John Napier. They've worked together in the same system for 3 years. You're bringing in receivers that, sure, you're looking at one from McNeese. You're looking at one from Southern Illinois and one from Pine Bluff, right? You didn't go out and get Barryon Brown or Eric Singleton Jr., right? I understand that. But at the same time, they're lanky, they're burners, and the scheme should allow them to get open. You've got John Napier at quarterback who can throw, who can run, who is tough. And you got a 1,300-yard back from 2 years ago at Cal and Jaden Ott, who was banged up last year at Cal, but could feasibly be the best tailback in this league if healthy this year. So I see no reason to think that this could not be a 9-win team that has a chance in November at least to still be playing for Atlanta and for a college football playoff spot.
I know now, thinking about it, why you're not big on Auburn, because that other quarterback went over there.
Well, I'm not big on them because that's part of it. Like that I worry about Jackson Arnold's headspace. I worry about confidence. I worry about the first time he throws an interception. I worry about when he gets hit and fumbles. I worry about all of that stuff. I like them. Like Keldrick Falk to me is one of the top 4 or 5 defensive players in the league on that line up front for them. I don't know how much I trust the rest of the defense, and if there's a lot of pressure on Jackson and he's not performing, then yeah, I hesitate to go too deep into loving Auburn.
I get that. Dari Nowkhah is joining us on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. I want to talk to you about something that I do miss, and I'm going to experience it a little bit this year because I'm going to go to the Texas game probably. And that is going to big games and being on scene. Now, I know you do a lot of studio work, but you get out to some of the games. And just that feeling when when they blow the whistle and it's time to kick it off. And I mean, if you're like me, I'm sure you are, you just get this, I am so lucky to be here feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Just
yeah.
And you want to just enjoy it, and watch the game. And that I miss from being semi-retired, but I don't miss getting to the game.
Right.
I miss that feeling that you used to get.
I'm fortunate that we still get that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in studio pretty much all regular season. Although last year they did have me and Jordan go to Vegas for LSU Southern Cal on week 1, which was awesome. But we do go to the championship game and our share of playoff games. I mean, like, to your point, I never ever consider myself working, whether it's doing radio or SEC Network. I feel so fortunate to be able to do what I do, and I got that feeling last year. They sent us to Columbus for Tennessee Ohio State, an on-campus playoff game, and it was 20 degrees, and we're in 3 or 4 layers of clothes each with battery-powered heated vests underneath it all, right? And I'm looking around like there's nowhere else I think I'd rather be right now, right? Than at the Shoe watching a college football playoff game. And then in Atlanta the next week for Arizona State, Texas, which was the best playoff game of all of the playoff games last year. Yeah, no, I don't take it for granted. I certainly try to kind of breathe in every minute that I have the opportunity to be at these places, because I know, as you know, I'm not going to get to do this at this level anyway forever.
Let me ask you this: if you agree with my theory, and this is a theory I have, and that is, and I mentioned it in the first segment, but that is that you're going to see very few coaches get fired this year at big name programs, because these schools are still trying to figure out where their $20 million, how they're going to pay this off. Florida, for example, cut 5% from every budget in every sport. So that was the way they tried to pay for it. But the money is not there the way for these huge buyouts, the way maybe it was last year, the year before. And I think when everybody starts talking hot seats 3 games into the season, I'm going to tell everybody, pump the brakes. These guys may be okay. They may be fine because of that.
Yeah, it is a different world. I remember you said that on my show, and I hadn't really thought of it, Pat, till you said that. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, everybody's kind of pinching pennies right now, which is a ridiculous thing to say when we're talking about what we're talking about, when in the real world there are people everywhere that literally pinch pennies and cut coupons and do all the little things to get by. And I understand that. So, but you may be onto something so where they have to have that, the athletic department, the athletic director, whoever's in charge of making those decisions, has to really find a way to balance. Okay, if we keep him another year, the buyout will drop by this much money. That makes sense. But at what point does that make more sense than the negative recruiting that's going to make this next year's team probably worse than this year's team, because players have no faith in this guy anymore. They're sick of the negativity. They're going to leave. He's not going to be able to bring anybody of quality in. And then we're worse off in a year, although we might be able to save $4.35 million. We're actually burying ourselves deeper into the ground for the next guy. And I don't know how you balance that. And I'm glad I don't have to.
That's a AD's decision. And that's going to be tough, because you're right. I mean, you sit there and you look at it, and what if you fire a guy, a lot of guys are going to get in that portal, man. Boom, they're in it right. They're probably in it if they're people think they're going to get fired.
But you can also hire a guy
yeah,
that people want to play for, and then they'll jump in the portal to come to you.
come there.
Right? But if you've got a coach there that everybody's considering a lame duck coach, people are leaving and nobody's coming. And now you're really screwed.
That's why Will Muschamp got fired, really, was that it had become toxic in the recruiting trail because everybody was saying he's going to get fired. And everybody loved him at Florida, and I loved him too. He was great guy to be around, man. Great dude. Hey, I wanted you to talk a little bit about Hayden's Hope, the fund you have set up. Obviously, your infant son died from, was it myocarditis? Viral
myocarditis. Yeah. He got sick after just a couple of days after he was born back in 2011. And the illness didn't go away. In fact, it impacted his heart, which created it was a virus that created myocarditis. So they call it viral myocarditis. And he ended up on the heart transplant list and he didn't make it. So we started a fund back then with the help of the Children's Organ Transplant Association. So COTA, C-O-T-A. And we started Hayden's Hope kind of under their wing to raise funds for families of children who are awaiting an life-saving organ transplant. So help offset the cost of travel, of maybe not being able to work for a while because you want to be at your child's bedside. The motels or hotels they stay in because typically these transplant hospitals are nowhere near their homes, right? So you may be working or unable to work. So the electric bill's coming due, your insurance bills coming due, whatever it may be. So we try to help offset those costs. And so it's called Hayden's Hope. I was actually notified recently. So the haydenshope.org website does not go to it anymore, but you should be able to go to the Children's Organ Transplant Association, COTA, and find a link to Hayden's Hope there.
Okay. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Yeah, absolutely. All right. We got to play Yes, No, Where, Maybe with you.
Ooh.
Is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks Street Dining, done the right way. If you go in there and say you listened to or watched another duly noted podcast with Dari Nowkhah, you get free French fries with your order. And I would go with that big sausage dog, man. It's pretty good.
Ooh, gosh. I've never had this place. Hey. I've got to hit this place. Wait, I'm going what now? Yes, maybe, or what?
Yes, no way, or maybe.
Okay.
And you can expound on your answer. All right.
Okay.
Number one, you have ever worn shorts behind your sports desk?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Especially in local TV, I'm out filming with a camera in 95-degree heat. I run back to the station. I'm editing. I'm lucky enough to get a tie tied, let alone worry about dress pants. Oh, yes, in local TV, absolutely.
That's a good answer. Number two. On Yes, No, Way, or Maybe with Dari Nowkhah, you can't believe that Union High is still called the Redskins.
They're not.
Oh, they changed it.
They're 3 years ago, they became the Red Hawks. Yep.
Wikipedia needs to check up on that now.
It does. Yeah, they were choosing between Bison and Red Hawks, and Red Hawks won out.
Now, has Donald Trump said that they need to go back to the Redskins?
If he was aware that Union High School existed in Tulsa, he would. But no, they're still the Red Hawks. And the Gator fans that watch, they won't like their logo, but it's the old interlocking Miami U.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a story to this, Pat. When they started this about 20-something years ago, they just did it on their own, and the University of Miami caught wind of it. Now it's black and it's red. And so the University of Miami said, it's cool if you do it. Just pay us $1,000 a year. So they pay them $1,000 a year to use the U.
Yeah. Hey, they probably use it on Gatorade. I did see that. I saw that there was another symbol for them where it's more than that. Like a bunch of lines and everything. I don't know.
There could be.
When I was looking that up about Union High, and they were saying who the most famous people were, and you were on that list, and then I went through it again. And I go, I think Dari is the most famous person on that.
Well, am I more famous than like Justin Fuente?
That's a tough call right there.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking. He is a head football coach, but
what's funny? So he and we grew up 4 houses apart.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's a year younger than me. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah. All right, finally, number 3. On Yes, No, Where, Maybe with Dari Nowkhah. The best thing about being in Charlotte is that it's not Bristol.
Yes. Yep.
I spent some time in Connecticut. I know. The
Yeah,
winners are not happy.
yeah. I will say this. I loved the campus of ESPN.
Yeah.
I loved working on a day-to-day basis in that building. I loved working on that Sports Center set and all that. But you walk outside and you're like, there's got to be more to life. And Charlotte's a great spot.
Yeah, I like Charlotte a lot. In fact, by the way, I wanted you to say hello to my friend Brandon Zimmerman if you see him up there.
Oh, Zim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, we actually went to his wedding up there, which
Oh, nice.
didn't work out in the end, but still, he's a good dude, man.
It happens. He's got good hair, too. He's got that great hair. Zim does. Yeah, it's good hair.
He could do a Superman curl if he wanted to. Yeah, that hair.
Good.
All right. Dari, appreciate it so much, man. Yeah, you're the best. And it's always fun talking to you. And let me know during the season if you need me to come on your radio show because I had so much fun doing it.
I will. Hey, I will. You will. I promise you. It'll happen, man. It's always good to get to see you and talk to you too, Pep.
All right, we'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios right after this break.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Here are just a few reasons why doing business with the Royal Blue puts you at the helm of your boating lifestyle. 1, the longer we have your listing, the lower percentage commissions you will pay. 2, survey reimbursement for qualified buyers. 3, detail reimbursement for qualified sellers. 4, on-the-water delivery orientation availability. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Dari Nowkhah did send me a Warhawks logo, so now I know that what they are. Of course, that was what Louisiana Monroe was the Indians, I think, and then they went to Warhawks. So Union High too. We got that down. I was stunned when I read that they were still the Redskins, but obviously Wikipedia needs to get it straightened out. All right, let's get to our fun stuff that we love to do every Monday and Thursday at this time, and that is we'll start with our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Week. We all love Adams Rib. Man, the basket he put together, it was great for the Cure Grace tournament, and of course some gift certificates in there as well. And it was a good time, and Adams is the place to go. Every Friday I go in there and get those Nana's Nuggets, man. They are the best. They melt in your mouth. They're great. All right, let's talk about our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Week, and that is Matthew Kress. What's Matthew Kress done? Well, he's playing good golf, but the main thing he did was he was named a Golf All-American Scholar, which is a big deal. That means he has been a great student for 3 years. You have to do it for 3 years to become an All-American Scholar, and he has done that. And I know that a lot of us don't want to talk about, these kids, all they're doing is getting money, and NIL, and then jumping in the portal. But, there's kids out there that are still going to class, and maybe he takes all his classes online. I don't know, but who cares? We're doing the podcast online right now. It's fine. This is the new world we live in. And I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying maybe he does. I don't know. The bottom line is to keep up your grades and with all the pressure you have on you in golf. And golf is tough. Golf is hard, man. I played yesterday and I almost died in the heat. I played 9 holes, and I think on the 7th I think I'm dying. But I got to it. Anyway, So Matthew Kress is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. We are moving into time, and let me tell you what. Next week we actually have a volleyball match, I believe, or a soccer match and a volleyball match. It's coming up, man. Everything's getting ready to start. This is the last day as I'm doing this podcast of the brutal month that is July. July is not a fun month. It's too hot and it's not enough going on. So now we're going to get to August. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And this podcast is only going to explode. I can tell you that much. And it does explode sometimes. All right, let's move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. And the Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick brought to you by our good friend Kyle Cohen over at Leonardo's. They do a great job of, as always. Go in there and get a Dool's. A Dool's is a Parmesan sandwich. It's very good. Very, very good. Chicken parm, I should say. So the quick pick, and again, I think this may be the last one we have to do with baseball. Maybe we'll do the World Series or something. But once we get into football, all the picks are going to be football oriented. I do appreciate some women are starting to get into the picks, and that's great because you guys are usually the smarter ones. There's a track record there of you being smarter than so, and you don't pick with your head emotions. You pick with your brains. So it's good. I got a feeling the women are going to win. But our game is the Detroit at Philadelphia game. It's Sunday. It's on ESPN, so you can track it if you need to. We're going to start another game. Now, obviously, the game tonight, we did the pick for Monday, and I wanted to go ahead so everybody could get it in. And again, who knows who's going to win? I don't know that anybody should be betting on it either. I'm just saying, if you're smart, betting is not a problem. We know that. If betting on a game just to bet is not a good idea because you have no idea who's going to win that game or who's going to play in it. All right, that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. Let us move along to This, That, and the Other. This, That, and the Other is brought to you by our good friend Notary Joe over there, the mobile notary. He does a great job, Joseph Newton. You can reach him at 863-990-4884. And he'll come right to your house and do your notary for you. It's brought to you by Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo, I was just over there yesterday. They were closed for a couple of days. They're doing some repairs to get some things cleaned up, and I know that was a high priority when the new owners took over. And so it's back open Friday. So head on over there to Ballyhoo Grill. We love them over there at Ballyhoo. And by Darr Schackow Insurance for all your home, auto, and commercial and life needs. Darr Schackow, the place to go. We appreciate all of them for this, that, and the other. Let us start out with the this. The this is that I got to be honest with you, and I think everybody knows how I felt about a young man named Deion Sanders when he was a young man. I did not like him. He played for Florida State. I did not like him. He didn't go to class. It caused the state legislature to pass a rule that made you go to class, which is not a bad rule, but he didn't go. That bothered me. Then, he was playing for the Cowboys. I know he was playing for the Braves. And yeah, I liked him when he was with the Braves. I used to like him doing things to the Braves, but I just didn't like him. Played for the Cowboys. I mean, unbelievable, enigmatic figure. I mean, I just wasn't a fan. And you guys know why. He was a Knoll. He's an outspoken Knoll. But I use the not going to class as an excuse not to like him. So then he goes to college football, and it gets worse. He cuts his roster, brings in all these portal guys, and I'm like, this isn't the way this was intended to be. They lose a bunch of games, and they come back and win the next year, and his guy wins the Heisman, and I'm like, I just don't like the guy, blah, blah, blah. He's going to leave, and very negative. Very, very negative. Negative rooting. Yeah, I rooted against him in every game he's ever coached. Even Jackson State. And then we get to the other. And this is why sometimes you just need to be a human being. Dealing with bladder cancer that he did, having it removed. I know some of the stuff he's going through prostate cancer and having it removed. I get it, man, and I feel his pain, and I am happy he's back coaching. And I will tell you this: I ain't rooting against Colorado anymore. I'm certainly not rooting against Dion. Um, sometimes you need a slap in the face about things, and sometimes you get too. Oh, it's a no. I got to root against him. I felt the same way when Bobby passed because I had a great relationship with Bobby, and when I came here, all of a sudden there was an FSU fan in the building that just drove me nuts, and I turned on him, and that's part of it. And like the buying the T-shirt stuff, I shouldn't have done that. But I like the T-shirt, so anyway, it was fun, but I need to get more positivity into my life, and one way I'm going to do it is I'm going to be a Deion Sanders fan because I need to be because what he's dealing with, I get. All right, that is this, that, and the other. Brought to you by Notary Joe. Brought to you by Darr Schackow Insurance and by Ballyhoo Grill. Let's move to our Los Linderos. Smooth move of the week. Go beyond with Los Linderos tequila, my favorite tequila, and Urban Meyer's favorite tequila, as smooth as an Urban Meyer special teams play. That's my slogan. I made it all up. All right, so our smooth move of the weekend was Sally Jenkins. Now, some of you don't know who Sally Jenkins is. She is a great writer. She took after her dad. Her dad, Dan Jenkins, of course, wrote a bunch of books. A bunch of them were made into movies, including a movie that I'm going to mention in just a little bit. And Sally, just terrific columnist. In fact, I remember when she you'd first see her byline, I go, wow, man, talk about nepotism. And then you'd read the column and you go, she's good. She's really good. It rubbed off, you know what I mean? Sally was also a very nice person. She stood up for everything. And now she has decided to take the buyout at the Washington Post, much like I did at the Gainesville Sun. Sometimes you get to a point where, let me go do something else. Let me get out of here. This is not going the way I want it to go. Washington, D.C. will miss her. I know she's going to work for the Atlantic, so she'll be writing, I think, some long-form columns and stuff. She's as good as they get, but it is a smooth move to be able to get a buyout this late. Robbie and I got our buyouts in 2020. They weren't given buyouts after that at Gannett. So, but she got one from the Washington Post, and smooth move there, Sally. And believe me, I've met her a few times. I know she doesn't know me very well, or if at all, but I want to applaud you. Congratulations on a great career for the Post. All right, let's move along to our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the Week. And I talked to those guys over there. They do a great job. BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. I told them that I'd hit a new low, and I felt really good about it. Just got to maintain that and keep it going. Achieve and maintain with your weight loss specialists at BMI TeleMed. They also told me they've gotten a stunning number of referrals, and that's great. Don't forget, you get 10% off if you mention my name, that you heard it on this show. So that's a great deal. There would be on my TeleMed. Our smart move of the week belongs to Billy Napier for letting the media come in and watch practice. Which, now, look, Florida's not running plays that somebody's going to be scribbling down and putting. They told them you can't say anything about it. You can't write about it. You can't say what happened at practice. Can't say if anybody got hurt during practice, but we'll let you watch. And that is beautiful. That is a beautiful thing. Look, we all want to see freedom of, where you can hear more about what practice looked like. But the bottom line is all this stuff, all those writers who go are getting is basically background. So the next time when they run a double reverse, not that that's a play they're going to practice in this practice, but when this guy looks good, like Jordan Bow, or Jaden Bow, sorry. I always do that. Jaden Bow apparently looks like a beast, and he's the strongest and fastest guy on the team. But you need to see that. When you see it, you're not just taking somebody's word for it. Like they always would tell you Desmond Watson was losing weight, and he wasn't, okay? And he's still not practicing with the Bucks because he hasn't lost enough. But anyway, letting them in, I think, is great, and it helps them, and it helps them have a better feel for what the team is. I think it's a great, smart move. I think it helps you and it helps them. we can all get along together. Like what was it that and what was that, 94, I think it was, when Coach Spurrier brought all the boys in and said, turn your tape recorders off. Don't take any notes on this. This is between me and you. And he said he was mad about Chris Harry calling Jack Jackson. And Jack had been suspended for the game. And Jack wasn't, he was mad about it too. And Spurrier said, look, you're either for us or against us. And look, we're neither in the media. But now that I'm not in the media, I could be for the Gators. That's possible. I'm for Augusta. But anyway, the point was that I think a lot of coaches had that feeling. And once they think people are against them, they shut them out. I don't think Billy Napier is the kind of guy that reads anything, though. I will say that. I think he's aware of things. He's made aware of them. Anyway, it's a long way of talking about that. All right, let us move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week. And the Sponge of the Week from Gallo Car Wash, where you can go on a merry-go-round, right around the thing, and hands off the wheels. It's great, man. They take you right through there and wash your car and do a great job. Our Sponge of the Week this week is Billie Jean King. What's Billie Jean King doing? Well, Billie Jean King is being a sponge. She is soaking up information because she is back in college and she realized all the things she's done in her life. I always finish everything I do. I'm not going to not finish college. So she went back to college and she's actually at Cal State LA, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it is. It's not UCLA, it's Cal State LA. So anyway, she actually went to school there earlier and played tennis, I think, or went out for the tennis team. I was reading this story. It's a great story in the LA Times. You can go find it. It was really good talking about her and why she's doing it. They had interviewed her and stuff. So really cool, though. And she is our Sponge of the Week for soaking up all that knowledge. Appreciate our Gallo Car Wash sponsorship. Let's move along to our Quarterback Club sponsorship. And we love them at the Quarterback Club. Tomorrow we begin the month where they really get cranked up, starting with the 26th, when Katie Turner is going to be there to speak. And then the next week, Alex Brown, and it just gets better and better and better. Todd Golden for the Golden Gala. It's going to be fun. The Gainesville Quarterback Club, the great place for fellowship, great place to eat, great place to have a couple of beers with your meal, great place to listen to great speakers, and I may tell a few jokes as well. Although there is pressure for me to tell jokes. All right. So the Quarterback Club is a place to go. GainesvilleQuarterbackClub.org is where you can go and join and become a member. Do it. Aloha. I'm telling you. All right. Let us move to our new sponsor. And this is exciting that my friend Mark Gaida from Pepin Realty has this called and said he wants to do a sponsorship. And so he is going to be the sponsor of the 12. And the 12 is going to be our college football playoff projections. So the first one we're going to do is on the first, or on the first Monday. Well, Monday of August. We're going to do what I have it as right now. Today we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to do a couple of things a little different during leading up to it. Like we may do the 12 best quarterback, something like that. But today, because there was a lot of discussion about this on the tailgate this week with me and Jeff. Jeff liked Happy Gilmore too. I thought it was a little hokey and the ending was terrible. And it was funny though. I laughed out loud multiple times. I am going to go watch it again because there were so many cameos. It's hard to keep up with them. But everybody's in it. All the golfers are in it and everything. So anyway, I said it wouldn't make my top 10 of golf movies. He goes, there's not 10 good golf movies. I go, yeah, there are. So what I did was give the first 12 is going to be my favorite golf movies. I said Happy Gilmore 2 would not make my top 10. I didn't say it would make my top 12, but let's go. Number 1, Tim Cup. Tin Cup, there's no doubt about it. Funny, clever. The golf references are great. The only negative is you never have a finishing hole like that where the ball could roll off the green. That wouldn't happen. But it's a really good movie. I love that movie. I think it's a movie for golfers, I think, more than anything. Number 2 is Caddyshack, and I'll be honest with you, the first time I went and saw it with Robbie's brother Tim. I didn't really like it, and I think it was the gopher that threw me off. I said, "This is so. That's not even a real gopher. I just didn't like the gopher. Every time I watch it now, I love the gopher. Especially when he does his little dance, at the end. I love the gopher. I love the movie. It's got more lines, and you can't play golf without talking about it. So that would be number 2. Number 3 is the greatest game ever played. Go watch it. Bill Paxton, one of his last movies as a director before he passed away at a very young age. Shia LaBeouf is in it. I love it. It's another movie for golfers, I think. But I think it's a really well-made movie. Number 4, The Caddy with Jerry Lewis. Where nice lady, I'm in the sand trap live. That kind of thing. But I love it. Number 5, I would put the first Happy Gilmore because we had never seen anything like it. It was funny. The ending was better. I liked Happy Gilmore the first. I'll stop and watch it when it's on, and it's a remote drop. And another remote drop for me is The Legend of Bagger Vance. I love The Legend of Bagger Vance. Really good movie. Matt Damon, I think, is terrific in it. I enjoyed it very much, and especially you got the Jack Lemmon voiceover the whole time is great. The second, Bobby Jones, Strokes of Genius. I don't even know if that movie got in theaters, but I know it was on different channels. I know it was on the Golf Channel. That may be where I saw it, but it's really good. Jim, is his name Caviezel? Something like that. Anyway, Caviezel plays Bobby Jones. It's very, very well done. Number 8, Dead Solid Perfect, written by Dan Jenkins. We were just talking about him. That is a great movie as well. 9, Follow the Sun, the story of Ben Hogan. I want to say Glenn Ford played Ben Hogan. I may be wrong about that, but I think it was Glenn Ford. But anyway, it's a really good movie. And those of you who don't know the story, it's stunning. He got in a car crash. Never thought he'd end up coming back and winning the U.S. Open. 10, Pat and Mike, which is Hepburn and Tracy. Really good movie. And 11 is Tommy's Honor. You probably have never seen this movie, but go find it. It's really good. Talking about old Tom Morris. And then number 12, Happy Gilmore 2. Yes, I couldn't think of 13 movies that I liked. So Happy Gilmore 2 snuck in there at the bottom of our Mark Gaida Pepin Realty present the 12. Monday, we are going to give you the 12 teams that I think are going to be in the college football playoff. And look, I'm not doing one of those, I want to be different. I want to be outrageous. I'm going to give you the 12 teams because I've been listening to everybody talk about every team. I know what I'm talking about here, okay? I've looked at schedules. It's very important. All right. Let us move to 3 things. We never do it this late, I know, but every once in a while you just kind of like to move things around. But 3 things is always one of the favorite things for our listeners. Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. We usually don't do it this late in the show, but you like to move things around and move sponsors around and like to do that. Hesser and Kipke, of course, they do a great job of the workers' compensation and family law. 352-339-9920. The number to call or reach them at www.hklawfl.com. Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. Number 1, the headline in the Atlanta paper should be Acuna again because Ronald Acuna is out again with an injury. Same kind of thing that Lagway has, the calf injury. He's got a grade 1, so that's not too bad, but they got to hold him out. And if I was them, I would shut him down personally. I would just say, we ain't going anywhere. There's no point in you re-injuring it. If you get to 100%, we may let you bat the last month of the season, but there's no point. And again, now everybody's talking about Lagway being injury prone. You could say the same thing about Acuna. And maybe these guys just get built so big and strong, and I don't know. I don't know the reasons for it. I don't know the reasons for anything, to be honest with you. But Acuna, as great as he is, and he was having a great comeback, just not going to work out. I would shut him down. All right, let's move to number 2, which is a bizarre story on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. We like bizarre stories. And that is Gilbert Arenas at warrant for his arrest because he was renting his mansion out to these high-stakes poker players. And it wasn't just like one poker game. It was like they would bring in valets, and they would have multiple tables and food catered in and everything. And it was like a big party. And they took a share. It was like I don't know what you call that when it's when you take a share of every cut of every table. But this was all done. I get Arenas rented it out to him, so he had to know what was going on, and that's why he's in trouble. But it wasn't like he was playing. It wasn't like he and 4 friends were sitting around playing poker and the cops came in. This was a big deal. So he needs to be smarter than that. And of course, it's been a rough month for that whole family because his son is out for the year with a torn ACL after being in a terrible car wreck they didn't know if he would be able to come back from. So anyway, that's not a good story. Anyway. And number 3, boy, you talk about injuries, you talk about people freaking out. When Shohei Ohtani went out of the game last night and his trainer came out and they're talking and he leaves, and they, oh no. Oh no. And I think people were freaking out. But then he stayed in the game as a DH. It's just cramps, he said. It's so fine. I'm good. So Dodgers, who are struggling anyway, for having the payroll they have, they're not going to lose Ohtani. So that's good news. And to be honest with you want to see him playing. All right. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us wrap up another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios with the games of the weekend. And again, next week it's going to be a lot more fun because we're going to have more games to talk about, and it's just going to get more and more and more. We're going to have a hard time getting all the games on here. Tonight, don't forget the Chargers against Detroit in a Hall of Fame game, ABC at 8 o'clock. That is Thursday night tonight. If you're watching today, it's tonight. By the way, I always forget to say where you should send your Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. I can tell I didn't say it when I don't get a lot of them, but it's patrickdooley54@gmail.com, and we'll get them. All right. Baseball games. O's at the Cubs on FS1 Saturday at 2:20. The Braves at Cincinnati on Fox at 7:15. That's on Saturday as well. I know the Braves. I don't know what I'd rather less watch right now, the Braves or the first NFL game. The first NFL, I want to watch the kickoff. I want to watch the kickoff and watch like a quarter of it, and then maybe enough for me. And then Sunday, your Sunday night game is Detroit at Philly on ESPN at 7, and that is our quick pick as well. Again, patrickdooley54@gmail.com if you want to do that. If you have any questions about advertising, you can also call me at that number, and reach me at that email address. Spit it out, Pat. All right. That is going to do it for another duly noted podcast. And now I lost my voice. Sorry. Zach, I got to get out of here. So let's wrap it up. Thanks again to Dari Nowkhah. Great job. Don't forget we have Coach Spurrier Monday and then Allie Peak Wilbur on next Thursday. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. And we'll keep bringing the good guests to you. For all of our great sponsors and all of our great guests, and Zach especially, who does a great job, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.